but adults too.
Yeah, oh, even more so.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy, he said, you know it's a problem if in the morning you're in the bed with your spouse and you wake up and the first thing you do is check your phone. And that happens. Okay?
While the mental health experts were taking control of the kids away from their parents, the kids' bodies were also being poisoned, making education even harder. Fluoride, found in drinking water and hundreds of products, is actually a highly toxic industrial waste product. Fluoride is the main ingredient in sarin nerve gas used by the Nazis in order to make their victims docile and sterile. It's also the key dumbing down ingredient of Prozac.
Also,
Wow, I didn't know
Prozac.
that. Deep.
Okay.
Here are some of the cumulative effects of fluoride.
So they're saying this is some of the effects of fluoride. ADHD symptoms, liver damage, brain damage, sterility. Right? And remember, one of the goals of the elite is to what? Lower population. Okay?
Worried about the flu? Do you know what's in the vaccine?
This is what's in the flu shot. Antifreeze, formaldehyde, aluminum, lead, mercury, and animal viruses.
Lead.
More people die from the vaccine than die from the flu. Fact, vaccinations have been associated with many neurological disorders. Babies are given a cocktail of vaccines.
And what did Bill Gates say that one of the ways to reduce population would be to what? Use what?
Vaccines.
Vaccines.
Yeah, it's his favorite.
Said this on camera. Once, about 4 times.
Yep.
I saw him speaking about that and saying vaccines were a way to reduce population. Okay?
The body's immune systems can handle it. Genetically modified foods are linked to toxic and allergic reactions, sick, sterile, and dead livestock, and damage to virtually every organ studied in lab animals. They are banned by food manufacturers in Europe and elsewhere. Yet GMOs are present in the vast majority of processed foods in the U.S.
It is maddening for everyone else. It is an epidemic. Texting while walking.
Right.
It's smartphones, but it's dumb people, okay? Right. I gotta discuss the dangers of cell phones. A recent survey found that 1/4 of people have walked into someone or something while checking their phone.
A nation of sheep will soon have a government of wolves.
And that's what we have now.
Yeah.
Right?
are ineligible to join the military. 75%. Can you say the word pathetic with me? Why? Well, there's a high level of obesity. This is embarrassing. Obesity. Unfit physically, unable to perform the most basic military maneuvers. Uneducated. Oh, well, wait a minute. Are you going to say we're uneducated? You can go to school and be uneducated. Isn't that an incredible realization? That you can go through school and they can pass you because they don't want you just lingering in the grade. And they'll keep moving you through the system. And they'll stick out practically illiterate students all the time. They can find oatmeal in the grocery store because they recognize the oatmeal box, not because they can read oatmeal. Unlearned mentally, unable to pass the most basic academic tests of competence. Go! We can't hear. You have to be able to hear, I guess, to get into the military at some level. Lost acute hearing ability due to the volume of music. It's embarrassing. We are unfit to protect our lives, to protect our marriages, to protect our families, to protect our towns, protect our states, to protect our nations. We are unready for battle. So The Dumbest Generation Ever. This is the book that I was referring to. It's actually called The Dumbest Generation, or this is the other option title for it, or Don't Trust Anyone Over 30. That's an attitude of an entire generation. You can't trust these guys. Those over 30, we have definitely seen some weaknesses in the older generation. There's no doubt about it. But I want you to know, those over 30 possibly know more than you do, as those of you that are under 30. You may know more about computer programming. However, they oftentimes know more about life. And we have disconnected ourselves from any knowledge fuel source that would give us an understanding of how life actually works. So look at this. It goes through, I think it's like 6 things I'll mention here, but 6 observations of why we are the dumbest generation ever. How do you guys like being classified as that? Isn't that a fun title to wear? See, I'm trying to get you mad, is what I'm trying to do. Don't accept that title. Don't sit around and allow that to be your title. Hit it back. Knowledge deficits. The least supply of common life, social, and cultural knowledge of any generation. This is my little statement that I add to it.
And you ever seen people at a family get together? They all, it's like all on their phones.
You walk down the street in the morning, go downtown, everybody has a phone.
Right.
Everybody. One day I just start counting people.
It's an addiction. But it's fulfilling people's need for attention.
Yeah, they look at their phone.
Because a lot of people want attention. They hear that bing, bing, oh, somebody call me. Bing, somebody texting me.
It's not about money.
Right.
So I'm always going back to solutions. One thing I did today, I went in the library and 4 young people were watching games where they were shooting people. And I told the librarian, she said, well, I tried to stop them every time I can, while she's staring at the guy doing it. So I walk over to 4 young black men, like 6 up to 14, and I say, we're not allowed to play that in the library. And they instantaneously changed the game.
That's all it took.
That's all it took. But see,
So I respect this particular white woman who happens to be the head of that particular library. She did not have a vested interest in doing what she said she was going to do. It was extremely easy for me to do it. She has more authority than me, but I had more influence. Because those young black men just looked at me and said, okay.
but it's blessings for you also. It's a blessing for you all because you stopped them from doing something that was, harmful for other people in the library, but also for themselves.
But the adults are looking at the phones. They're hypnotized by these phones, but they're smacking the kids, telling them, put down that phone. You're not getting your phone. Well, what do they get that? They get it from their parents. Their parents come in from work and sit down and thank you. They get on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember the commercial back in the day, and the father caught the son smoking weed, and he was like, where'd you learn this? You! Same thing.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
The children learn from their parents and their environment.
Right.
But now think about it. With these phones, school, right? The games, the television shows, the internet. Our children spend more time with those things than they do with their parents. So who's the educator? Who's teaching these kids?
That's so true.
It's this system.
Right.
This system. And the thing is, if you don't understand how diabolical this system is,
It's insidious.
Yeah,
It really
it's
is.
terrible. But
Protect them from their devices and they die. See, as long as they have their computer, their laptop, their PDA, whatever it is, they can make it through life. They can figure out directions. They can do their research. How do they do their research? Google. That's their research.
Yep,
And so
Professor
as a
Google.
result, you disconnect them from their devices, stick them in a forest all by themselves, and
But it's also how they control people's perception. Because we go to Google and stuff to get our facts and everything, but what if it's not true?
That's right.
And there's optimization logarithms where the first hit isn't necessarily the truest hit. It's the one that the person spent the most time to get to be the first hit.
Right.
And the most money.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Rashid, one time I did a Google search for starving white kids. We was looking online, right? With my kids, right? I'm saying we looking online, my kids, we seeing the African little skinny kids. I told him, say, now you know there are white kids that starving too.
Right.
They even had, not only in the country, but in the city right here, right? I said, so let's do a search. You couldn't even find a starving white kid overseas.
Wow.
And that's Google that's supposed to show you everything that's out there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But see, it's funny too. It's funny that you say that because it makes me think about the show that was coming on. It was called Scorpion, and it was supposed to have been a group of all these highly intelligent people. It's supposed to be the smartest people in the world. There wasn't one black person in it.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Right? But that's still that program.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Still that
Smartest per capita IQ was Sudan.
Wow.
Like
Yeah.
average 170.
Wow.
That's true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
Shows like Chicago PD and all these other shows, the white man is like the leading.
Yes,
always.
yes,
Mhm.
has all the
And
brains.
even with,
Right.
what was it called? Denzel Washington played,
Training Day?
Training
no,
day?
the other one. Equalizer?
Equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, he's a white man. The only black man that they showed that was, how can I say, that make crime was the Hawk. I don't know if anybody remember that. Remember the
Yeah,
Hawk?
I remember.
Wait a minute, the only, say that
He's
again?
the only black man that, took care of crime. He was like the vigilante, but he would go after the bad guy, with the community. He was just.
You talking about the television show The Hawk?
The Hawk.
Oh, you mean Hawk?
Slim
Hawk.
black guy that played the Hawk.
H-A-W-K.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Luther.
Yeah, remember a man called Hawk? Yeah, I know. I was thinking, the Hawk. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to watch that.
Right, me too.
I got the DVD setting for that.
Go ahead.
He's the only one.
With that, about the starving white kids and the whole indoctrination thing,
Right.
I spent 33 days in India, right?
Mm.
And I can tell you, I told my Uncle Greg, so when I got back, it's deep how these people, right, like the Indians, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the mall, there's no Indians on the walls. Like, there's no Indians being advertised in clothing. Like, they have clothing stores everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Indians
In their
advertising the clothes. It's only white people,
Mm.
right? Then when you go to anywhere that has to do with like prestige, it's always white. When you see like a car advertisement, like a billboard, it's always like a white person getting in the car. And you would think that like they would have Indians get in the car because this is India, so you might want to advertise Indians.
Right.
But it's kind of like a generalizing statement, so I don't want to say that. But Indians really don't look at Indians as successors.
No.
They look at white folks as one. So if you want to open up a new restaurant, you want to hire white people to work at the front desk because when Indians come in there, they say this must be good because there's white people working here.
That's right.
And these are the same people who come over here and then they open up businesses. They teach other people that, and then they teach to where it's like they're like black people. It shouldn't be. I'm sorry, isn't nothing because these people like teach that and teach it and teach it, and then their children get taught that, and then the children's children get taught that.
That's right.
And I say all that to say that I mean it gets to the point that even when I was driving down the street and I was there, they have bleach.
Oh, yeah.
Bleaching products that's sitting there. And the last thing I would say is that if you guys ever go on YouTube Vice, they even have this thing called hire a white boyfriend, where like if you want to look prestigious, you hire five white people out there, and then if you have a new medical treatment. They even hire white people who they're not even a doctor. They put them, and it's legal. They put them in lab coats, and they go in front of here, and they just have a script. They say, "I created this, and this is," and they say, "Okay."
But here you go. Think about it. It's controlled perception, and that's what they use the media and television and all of that stuff for, to control your perception. So now they can dictate to you what beauty is, right? That's what's happening. They're defining beauty all over the world. Beauty is a white woman with long blonde hair
and blue eyes.
Right?
And India has such a bad caste system.
Oh my goodness.
If you are a dark Indian, you are
Oh.
spit on the drain.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's how you're treated.
but there's an issue here then. Why are they so hard on black people, on people of color?
They've been indoctrinated to
Right.
believe
But see, the
this
thing
thing.
is this. They have stripped us of our history, right? Jesus or Isa, which was his real name, black.
Yes.
Musa or Moses, black. Prophet Muhammad was black. Okay? There's a lot of games going on. Okay? And these people are controlling our perception. Okay? Here we go. I want to show you this.
Daniel Bushell, water, food and population control, highly disturbing footage in this program.
Bill Gates, eugenics plan caught on camera.
$10 billion over the next 10 years to make it the year of the vaccines. What does that mean exactly?
Well, over this decade, we believe unbelievable progress can be made, both inventing new vaccines and making sure they get out to all the children who need them. The benefits there in terms of reducing sickness, reducing the population growth, it really allows the society a chance. Reducing the population growth.
But you see how you just slid it in.
You just do it in like it's normal. Yeah, oh yeah.
I have two questions. How does vaccines lead to less population?
Because they put drugs in there that sterilize people.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what they caught them doing in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They were putting chemicals in there in the vaccines to sterilize Africans.
Was that the Ebola stuff?
No, no. This was for a polio vaccine. A polio vaccine they had in Africa, and they were putting drugs to make the people sterile. Okay, but watch this because whoo, Lordy, Lord, here we go.
Let it rip.
With too many people. That's why we have.
And this is Ted Turner.
Growth, it really allows the society a chance, reducing the population growth.
So what's wrong with the population? I mean, with too many people. That's why we have global warming.
Reducing the population growth.
The negative impact of population.
And these are the elites, elite people talking. Ted Turner, Bill Gates, David Rockefeller. Now watch.
The United Nations can and should play an essential role in helping the world find a satisfactory way of stabilizing world population. The United Nations can and should play an essential role in helping the world find a satisfactory way of stabilizing world population.
Rick, what does population stabilization mean, and how do you seek to enforce that?
Well, we're not the economes of Malthus, as some would have you believe, but the world population is a concern. The Associated Press just has an article today saying that the world population is going to reach 7 billion people by the year 2012. We're 6.7 billion people today.
Hey, good to see you. Just a simple question. What did you mean by depopulation should have been the priority of U.S. foreign policy against the third world? Shame me. I'm not wanted for mass murder in different countries, unlike you, sir. How does it feel?
That's Kissinger.
Kissinger, yeah.
But the ones that came up with the NSSM 200.
Oh, he didn't want. That was his
During
baby,
Nixon's administration. They came up with the program NSSM 200, and in that program it was saying that population growth was a threat to the U.S.'s security, national security. Okay, so they were in Africa doing genocides and doing sterilizations. Okay,
and stealing organs.
All the dictatorships, all the overthrows.
We'll be held accountable for them one way or another. Do you have a plan, Rick? You're spouting off things from an office in California. This is my question. You're saying something very controversial here, and I hope people understand what you're saying. You think there should be fewer people in the United States? I'm trying to figure out which people are the undesirables. You pointed out you think immigrants are undesirable.
What people are the undesirables?
You know
Think
what's
about
wrong.
the images that they put up of us. Big movie, like back then during Nixon's time, a big movie was Soylent Green that dealt with overpopulation. Now today, you got the Avengers. Because what was Thanos trying to do?
Yeah, decrease half the population.
He was trying to, in the universe, right? Okay?
Yeah.
So the game in the programming is they get you to accept these ideas, or if you were far away from that idea, and then after listening to two sides of the argument, you say, oh, dang, well, I can kind of see it a little bit. So you got people on YouTube now posting, oh yeah, Thanos was right. We need to reduce population. Okay?
It is so cheap that the cost is basically not going to be an issue. That means that implementation decisions will be risk-to-risk decisions. But I think the more we do research, the less easy this will look, the more complicated the environmental effects will look. And that's a good thing, because right now it looks too easy. So I think that if we do more research, we're likely to find out that it's harder and more complicated than we thought, and that the side effects are harder to manage. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids. And by the way, it's not really a moral hazard, it's more like free riding on our grandkids.
Upwards of 80% of key US drones.
The chemtrails.
Yeah.
If you ever look up in the sky, you'll see these planes, they fly through, and they leave this thin white line.
Yeah.
And then a little bit later, you start to see them things widen out, start to look like clouds. Okay? Those are chemtrails. All right? And this guy, he, one time when they were doing it, he took and put a glass jar of water outside and he collected some of it. It was coming down. And he took it to a news station. And then they took it to a lab and they found out that it was very harmful to humans. It had barium and some other stuff. And then you think about the increase in asthma, right? A lot of people getting asthma. Okay. But then also look at Tavis Smiley's interview with Prince. You should see it on YouTube. But he was telling Tavis Smiley, he said, yeah, he said those planes are flying, leave this stuff in the air. He said, you know, the people around in his neighborhood will start acting funny, like start acting violent toward each other and stuff. And he got that from Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory would talk about it. Right. He talked about it at the State of the Black Union one year. And when Prince heard that, he was like, wow. So he went back and really listened to it, and was telling people to listen to it. But it's deep because they're spraying something up in the air. Okay? But now watch this. 93% of corn in the U.S. genetically modified.
Corn are already genetically modified. When GMOs get from the lab to the table, doctors and scientists consistently warn of extremely serious effects.
Every single independent study conducted on the impact of genetically modified food shows that it damages organs, it causes infertility, it causes immune system failure, it causes holes in the GI tract, it causes multiple organ system failure.
25, 30, 35 years ago, no one was allergic to anything. And now everything. I have people that are allergic to parsley.
When you link it to the GMO issue, it resonates like you would not believe.
The villain in this is Obama to me, because first of all, he promised blatantly that he would look into this and do something, and he didn't.
We'll let folks know whether their food has been genetically modified, because Americans should know what they're buying.
He also appointed, what is the guy's name? Michael Taylor. Used to be a VP at Monsanto, the seat of evil, to be the food czar, the FDA deputy commissioner of foods. And of course, Monsanto's latest Frankenfood got speedy approval because this guy is in charge of it. Because it's like putting Jerry Sandusky in charge of Chuck E. Cheese. Of course he's
Monsanto's the company that told us that PCBs were safe. They told us that Agent Orange was safe. They told us that DDT was safe, and now they're in charge of telling us if their own genetically modified foods are safe. Because the FDA doesn't require a single safety study, they leave it to Monsanto.
The new bombshell email is even more alarming when investigative journalist Anthony Gucciardi questioned a senior GMO executive on shocking evidence that genetically modified foods cause infertility. Here's how he responded.
If this causes infertility, awesome. The world is overpopulated. This is why GMO is actually saving the planet. I'm doing humanity a fucking favor. Sincerely, Ed.
Questions are now being asked on Monsanto buying a firm that's injected a permanent infertility gene into corn. The corporation's name is Epicite.
Epicite patented a product, patented a gene, which caused...
It says Monsanto's commercialized infertility gene, but won't tell us where it's being used.
And women who eat it
in the form of any product to produce antibodies.
You know how much corn is in
Everything.
right?
High fructose corn syrup.
Yep.
Rendering them irreversibly sterile. Now, DuPont and Monsanto formed a joint venture, purchased the Epicite firm, and, quote, commercialized the Epicite gene. Do you want to know if the food that you're eating contains the Epicite gene? The FDA, the Fraud and Death Administration, has made sure that under current laws, it is illegal for you to have that information.
And she was the lady that was on the episode of Conspiracy Theory with what's her name? Jesse Ventura.
Body Ventura,
Right.
yeah.
She left the country. She left the country.
Yeah.
No, she's not back. She left the country. They got to do interviews with her in another country.
She better.
But this is the thing. She said one time she was at a physician's office, and the lady said to her, "It's almost time for the great culling." She's like, "Great culling? What's the great culling?" But that's what they talk about, eliminating population. So she said she getting out of here. She said she don't have any time for this.
On leaving Microsoft, Bill Gates bought $23 million of Monsanto shares. Globally, he now promotes GMOs and a vaccines collection he calls the solution for the world. Gates has been recorded explaining this solution is actually to cut the world's population.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. The density in the poor areas is greater than they can grow the food. The benefits there in terms of producing the population growth.
The only vaccines that reduce the population, notes the site Prison Planet, are ones that sterilize people. The BBC says his foundation's funding big sterilization programs such as this one that blasts men's scrotums with ultrasound to damage the sperm. Here Gates actually calls for the so-called death panels to decide whether folks should live or whether, as he puts it, they have no benefit.
His father was a eugenicist also. And he, along with Margaret Sanger, started what they call the Negro Project. Okay?
Planned Parenthood.
Right? Planned Parenthood. Okay? Because that's what Planned Parenthood turned, the Negro Project turned into Planned Parenthood.
And a lack of
But Margaret Sanger, some quotes you get from her was that black people were human weeds, and were people that should have never even been born. Okay?
So again, it goes back to them.
You have to research these people.
They're trying to
and
play
the thing
God.
is that Hillary Clinton was a big follower of hers. Okay?
Say, is spending $1 million on that last 3 months of life for that patient, would it be better to see which ones actually have no benefit whatsoever? But that's called the death panel, and you're not supposed to have that discussion.
Now, this is sodium fluoride, right? It says it targets organs, the heart, the kidneys, bones, central nervous system, gastrointestinal system, and teeth. Do not get in eyes or on skin. Do not ingest, inhale, wear proper respirator, right? But you put it in the water. Okay? It says first aid, seek fresh air,